Hey everybody, welcome to the GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Kill Team Into the Dark, the new two-player starter set, because it does include a core book from Games Workshop for the 2021 version of Kill Team. Now, this book is the core rules for the two new teams, the Recruit Mercenaries and the Imperial Navy Breachers that come in the box set as well, and also the Killzone rules for what takes up the bulk of the box, which is the Killzone Gallowdark terrain set, a massive set of walls, and a new even board size to play the game in. Now, this copy was kindly sent along by Games Workshop as a complimentary review copy, and I have since played a couple games on it, put it together, painted it, and you can check out the painting stuff on the paint table today, as well as my review of the actual terrain set 2, and a Let's Play, where I actually played the game. So, lots of Kill Team videos today, basically, is what I'm saying. So let's jump in and review this book. So in the current format, obviously, 2 Kill Teams, and the rules for where they're playing is the norm. We've played a couple games now so far with both these, so I can make some comments on the rules themselves. Standard format, lovely color section featuring all the new rules. Although, obviously, this is actually on the terrain base, it looks like, that they made to photograph to make the table. So there's actually some deck plating and stuff underneath them, which is pretty cool. And all of the new gizmos and stuff are featured, like the new barricades, the walls, and they've done some cool lighting effects and stuff too to make it look real pretty. Usual stuff. Name generator, gotta make some names like Legs Smasher. that's the name I want my Imperial Navy Breacher to be. Legs Smasher, or Shifty the Fist. I love when it's all just insane. Background, base of operations, and squad perks, of course, for your squad. I will say that there is a great job done in here setting the scene. There's both a narrative string that you can read through, which is this, where you have Gulav and his squad of Imperial Navy Breachers descending into the thing. And it's very Predator. They start disappearing into the dark and stuff. It's pretty neat. And then a description of like the armsmen and the breachers and the crew that are basically on the Gallowdark, and the Gallowdark itself, which is a like once in every 4,000 years style Space Hulk, and is actually like not even just pre-Imperial, it's like pre-galactic civilization is how old it is. Its original components are actually like some alien funeral barge that's not just thousands of years old, it's millions of years old. So like the core components of the Space Hulk are so old, and they've been going in and out of the warp for so long, that like the Navy ship that you're exploring, the Gallowdark, is just a part of this massive Space Hulk. And there's so many alien ships. In fact, there's like whole civilizations working on it. If you watch the TV show Solar Opposites, it reminds me of The Wall. Like, that's what I think it looks like. It looks like The Wall from Solar Opposites with things living in it all over the place. It's like a mega structure. It's enormous. So a lot of stuff done to sort of like set that scene, and I think they did a really good job of making it feel like it's not just the average kill zone, because it's not. The big key feature of this box, of course, is the Space Hulk itself, which is pretty cool. Then our color section for the Recruit, great new models. The names for them, things like Core Ak. Angor, my favorite. My guy's name is Kurt Angor, the son of Angor Proc. And then, you know, even like a kindred name, what kindred they're from, like Rock or Batam or Drek. Of course, your quirk, your background, and your operations. So you could be like, only the strong survive. Your background is your wily. You use misdirection. I don't know what that means. And then prize transports. You live on some cool A-Team style space van. All right, and we're into the rules. So, of course, you get your army list, your spec op stuff, the kill zone, and then your expedition. So, not only is there new kill zone rules in here, there's actually rules for doing expeditions into the kill zone, exploring the different chambers that you come across, find different kinds of resources, and then each expedition ends, you're able to trade the resources you found over the course of the games that you play for either more requisition points or rare equipment or whatever. So I think it's actually pretty cool. They don't just give you a new like place to play like they normally do in these books. They also give you like a full kind of like campaign style that's different from the normal one for exploring it. All right, so let's jump in. One thing that is really nice, finally in this book, which they hadn't done in the previous ones, is they put your ploys and your tac ops actually with the list. For some reason, in the first early ones, there was like a pre-section to the army lists that had both sets like random tables and also the ploys and stratagems in it, and you had to like flip between your army list and that section to find them. It's all in one place now, which I thought was a nice upgrade for the book. So your Killzone Breachers, you got a Sergeant at Arms and 11 Navy Breachers. It sounds like a weird squad size. It is actually a 10-man squad of guys, but they count the Cat and the Geist Skull as individual models. Now you can have everybody. You can actually build all of the specialists out of the single frame, which is great. Like model kit wise. You just can't make multiple gunners. So save your arms or get a second box if you want to make all the different gunners. Jay went and built the Las blaster, whatever the short range Las cannon is, or short range multi-laser basically, and it was really cool. So if you want an extra Sergeant of Arms, because there's 3 build-outs for them, there's Navis Shotgun with Navis Hatchet, Bolt Pistol or Heirloom Auto Pistol, and Chainsorter Power Weapon. You could basically make the top one, and then you could go Chainsword Heirloom or Bolt Pistol Power Weapon. Actually, sorry, you could have 5 Navis Sergeants at Arms, basically. So, save your arms, get converting. But yeah, the gunner you can take, I think, twice. And that means that if you got a second box, you could potentially field the other one. Otherwise, you just field as a single squad. And if you take the Geist Skull, you could drop the Geist Skull and Cat, but you can only take them anyway if you take the Surveyor and the Cat unit. There's no point in taking them really without them. So I guess the way you could finagle this team is that you could take everybody, you could take a bunch of armsmen and then get your second gunner. Or you could drop one of the two, the Void Jammer or the Surveyor for a gunner. But they're pretty handy for getting rid of things like concealment and stuff. All right, 3 TAC ops. Storm target at the end of a turning point. If you so you reveal this from the first turning point. Basically, your opponent will pick one of the objectives on the table. That's your storm target, and then you score based on that objective. So you don't get to pick it; your opponent does. And at the end of any turning point, if you control it, you get a VP, and if at the end of battle you control it, you get a VP. So they pick the critical target. Basically, you're trying to storm, and then you go try and storm it, which I think is a nice, easy, simple, easy to remember one. I'd throw it in the mix probably with my 6. Into the breach. Now this one's basically like a similar sort of like Killzone Edge 1. You're trying to get across the board. If one or more friendly operatives that's not a Geist Skull or Cat unit are within 6 of your opponent's Killzone Edge, score VP. And if 2 or more, you score VP. So if you can get 2 guys across the table to within 6 of the Killzone Edge, which is not easy in this, but you do have a guy who can make it easier, which is the Breacher. Has a chain fist for whatever reason, then you could definitely get this one. So storm target into the breacher, both. You're basically going to build a little posse to go and do those 2, but if you get both of them, it's probably easy to do. And then finally, counteract. If you use breach and clear ability, which is one of your bespoke abilities, it's basically a chain activation. And during that group activation, one friendly operative incapacitates an enemy operative, and the other friendly operative incapacitates an enemy operative or controls an objective. Then you score VP. And it has to be one that you didn't control at the start of the turn. And if you achieve the first condition at any subsequent turning point, score VP. So basically, if you storm a target, take an objective and kill somebody, like at least one of them kills somebody, then, or you both kill somebody, then you're going to get it. And there's some cool combos, man. The Endurant and the Axe Jack can get a lot of work done. A lot of work done. And that just chains on now to your abilities. Breach and clear. Everybody can do this. Once per turning point, when a friendly Navy Breacher operative is activated, you can use this ability. If you do so, select one other friendly Navy Breacher that's visible and within 3 inches, so blue, of that operative. Until the end of the turning point, they become group activation 2. And when the first operative's activation ends, you select the second one to go. So basically, 2 guys paired up can chain activate. It's really cool and really handy, and there's some cool combos in the team to do it with. And then Void Armor, so you basically don't get affected by Splash at all, and there's a bunch of Killzone rules here that makes Void Armor really worth having, especially the fact that Blast, Torrent, and Splash weapons become lethal. Each time a shooting attack is made against this operative, if a ranged weapon has Blast or Torrent, or makes a shooting attack against each operative, like a detonate ability, like a grenade, then during your defense step of rolling your dice, you can reroll 1 of them, and if you're a grenadier, you can roll 2 of them. So you just always get to reroll dice against your Blast, Torrent, Splash, and grenade weapons. And your strategic deploys. Okay, so you have a bunch of orders. Now, unlike the guard veterans, your orders are actually just built straight into your tactical deploys instead. So it's not like the guard veterans where you get to issue an order and then also do a strategic deploy. So they're just CP dependent, but they're pretty cool. Your attack order. Place an attack order token anywhere in the kill zone. You don't actually get a token for it that we could tell, but you could just use one of the objective tokens. or the little colored marker tokens. Each time a friendly Imperial Navy Breacher operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack while within 3 of that token, and the reroll attack, or the roll attack dice type, you can roll any results of a single result. So it sounds weird, but basically if you roll multiple misses of the same number, you can reroll all of that one number. It's weirdly worded, but you pick a point on the table, that's where you're trying to attack this turn. It can be anywhere in the table, doesn't have any line of sight, and then you can reroll all your dice of a single number that you select whenever you make an attack. So if you happen to miss with like 3 1s, reroll the 1s. If you miss with 3 3s, reroll the 3s. So it's flexible in that it's a bit better than just reroll 1s, because it's any result you got multiples of, you can reroll all of a sudden. And at the end of the turning point, take the attack order token away. You can't use a strategic ploy in the same turning point in which you use a defense or a strategic ploy, which is weird because I don't think you can use 2 strategic ploys at the same time anyway. So then you have defense order, which is the same thing for defense dice. So you pick a point on the table, everybody within 3 of it gets to reroll attack dice steps of a single result, and then you take it away and you can't do it with attack order. Yeah, I don't think you can do multiple strategic ploys in a turn, so I don't know why it specifies that unless something's changing. I could be wrong though, but I'm 90% sure you can't. Close assault, until the end of the turning point, each time a Navy Breacher operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against a target within 3 of it in the roll attack dice step. If you retain 2 or more successful hits, you can retain 1 of your failed hits as a success as well. So basically, as long as you hit twice, you can get an extra 1 for close assault. And then brace for counterattack until the end of the turning point. Each time an enemy operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against a Navy Breacher that has not performed a charge, fallback, or normal move, this turning point, strike 1 from the damage characteristic of both its hits and crits. So basically, when you haven't activated yet and you haven't made any kind of moves, or if you're just dashing, everything's -1/-1. So -1/-1 damage, which is a big deal. I think Jay used brace for counterattack more than anything else successfully. Because it's not 1 point on the table, it's just everybody. And it's fights in combat or shooting attacks. So they get real tough real fast for humans. And then your tactical ploys, you get overwhelm target for 1. Use it when you use the breach and clear ability. Select one of the friendly Imperial Navy Breachers and get +1 AP. That's a big deal all of a sudden for speeding certain people up. So you can buy an AP basically for one of the guys who's tag teaming. Blitz for a CP. Use when a Imperial Navy Breacher fights or shoots at a target within 6, so within red. In the roll attack dice step of that shooting or combat attack, before rolling your attack dice, if it's the first friendly operative to be activated at this turning point, retain 1 attack dice as a crit without having to roll it. And if it's the first friendly operative to perform either of those attacks at this turning point, you can retain 1 attack dice as a successful hit without rolling it. So, yeah. If it's the first friendly operative to be activated, and then if it's the first person to do either that type of attack. So, as long as one person shoots, the other person fights, or one person fights, the other person shoots, you can double dip on both. And then lock it down. I use tactical deploy when a friendly Imperial Navy Breacher operative is activated. Select 1 objective marker until the end of the battle. When determining control of that objective marker, treat this operative's APL as being 1 higher. Note this is not a modifier. In narrative play, this is cumulative with the focus battle honor, and you can only use this tactical play for each friendly operative once. So basically, you can say you secure that spot and you designate that trooper to go and take it over. Calm head for 1 CP. Use a tactical blow when a friendly Navy Breacher operative is activated. Until the end of the battle, you can ignore any or all modifiers to that operative's movement skill and the ballistic skill and weapon skill characteristic of its weapons. So just, sure, until the end of the battle, that person can't be wounded. Real cool for the Endurant. The Endurant gets a lot of legs out of that, especially considering how slow they are. They only have 2 white for movement, so they don't get slowed down. And then, all right, we're into the profiles. So they're pretty common humans. The only difference really is the wound stat and the save stat on a few of them. So for instance, your Sergeant Arms has 8 wounds when the regular Armsman have 7. Other than that, the core stats are the same. Armsman has a group activation of 2. The shotguns are the same across the whole army. So close within 6, they get 4 shots at 3+, 3/3 damage. So nice consistent damage. Even if you crit, it's just making it harder to block. And then long range, though, it drops right off. Outside of 6, it's a 5+ with 1/2 damage because it's buckshot, right? It's designed to not go through ship hulls. I know that makes for a weird, rule set, but it's very thematic to the fact that they're ship stormers. They're not trying to breach the hull when they fight. And then their Navis Hatchet, they're actually fairly dangerous in close combat. They've got 3 attacks, 4+, 3/4 damage. And then their Void Armor special roll. You get access to a few cool weapons. The Chainsword's a chainsword, so ceaseless with 4/5 damage. The hatch is the same. The power weapon is lethal 5+ like usual, and 4/6. It's a usual thing. And the heirloom pistol gets balanced lethal 5+. Only does 2-3 damage, but the balance and lethal are nice for putting through a spike of damage. Bolt pistol the same as on a marine. Oh, sorry, and leader. They have command breach. At the first start of the first strategy phase, select the attack order, defense order. Until the end of the battle, while this operative is in the kill zone, you can use it without spending any command points. So you get the attack and defense for free, basically, as long as that guy's still alive. So the Navis Sergeant at Arms gives you a free one of those. I think Jay forgot that during our game. The Axe Jack, I love this guy. He's got a power axe, which is 4/6 lethal 5+, which is pretty great. And then his emboldened, when he charges during the turn, and sorry, he's the same core stats as an armsman. When he charges during a turn, while it's emboldened, each time it loses a wound on a 5+, it's lost. And then it has the wade in a charge action. For 2 AP, basically it charges then performs a fight. And while it does so, its power up and gets reap 2 criticals. So it does 2 mortal wounds for every critical hit, and it's lethal 5+ within 1 of the target you're attacking. So if you charge into a clump of guys and swing that axe, you could be spiking mortal wounds everywhere. I think Jay did 4 mortal wounds in one of our games to like 2 or 3 guys, just standing nearby to the target. And of course, if you're doing crits too, you're doing 6 damage per hit, you're probably killing whatever you're hitting. The cat, these things are very squishy. They're not really dependable. They're more like mobile can kill them tokens that the other abilities proc off of, so the cat and the Geist Skull. They have the same core stats. Their movement force, they're pretty fast, but they only have 1 AP. They can be given an extra AP at the cost of an AP though by their handlers. And their group allowance, group activate 1. Def only 2 dice and a 5+ and 5 wounds. So they are real easy to splash with shooting if you get them to be able to be seen. Also, it's a support unit. It cannot perform any actions that aren't dash, fallback, normal move, or pass, which means they're not allowed to interact with objectives at all, so they're just there to look, basically. They can't climb, jump, or traverse, and they can't make shooting attacks, fight in combat, or provide any support, and they can't be equipped with any equipment or carry anything. And they get recon. In the scouting step, after resolving your selection, you can perform a free dash for this operative. They can both do that. And then when drawing a visibility line from this operative, draw it from any part of the miniature. This operative cannot earn or lose experience points and automatically passes casualty tests, which we forgot again in one of our games. The operative can perform the fallback action for 1 less action point to a minimum of 1 AP. So it slips away, which is nice. These are the same across both of them. There's a unique action for the Geist Skull, which is boost for an AP. Select a point in the kill zone that's visible to the operative and treat that point as intended target and perform a free normal move. Moving in a single straight line with unlimited movement. It must finish within 1 of the selected points. Operative can only perform this action once and can't do it during the first turning point. So you can just go zip, zip, zoom and go straight. All right, so the Navis Endurant. This guy's got a big different thing. 10 wounds and a 2+ save. He basically takes one of the doors off and carries it around with him. He's very hard to kill. He's got a heavy shotgun, so it's the same as the regular shotguns, but long range has got relentless, which is kind of neat. And short range has also got relentless. The core stats are the same. And then shield bash, it's his melee attack. It only does 1 damage, but it's brutal, so you can only block it with crits and has the shield special roll. So whenever he does a block with it in melee, he blocks 2 hits instead of 1, which is pretty great. It's 4+ to hit with 1/1 damage and 3 attacks. So he's not very offensive, but he's crazy defensive. 2+ save with 10 wounds. And then he has a breach wall. Each time another friendly Imperial Navy Breacher operative finishes an action which it moved and ended that move in base contact with his operative. If this operative has an engage order and is not already shielding a friendly operative, it can shield that friendly operative until their bases are no longer touching or this operative no longer has an engage order. While the friendly operative is shielded, it's not in an enemy model's line of sight if a cover line is drawn across this operative's base. So basically, if you have somebody, it's like the tip of the Axe Jack, I'm in base contact behind him, I can't shoot the Axe Jack as long as this guy's shielding him. But he only gets to shield 1 model per turn. And then disengage for 1 AP, can fall back because he's got a shield. The Grenadier with his Hurt Locker outfit, which I think is super cool. Same core stats. Navis Shotgun, Navis Hatchet, the same as the Armsman. Demo charge is 4/6 damage. Range 2, blast white. Sorry, it's a 4-inch range then. So it's 2 white, blast white, AP 1, and then limited and indirect. So it only shoots 4 inches as opposed to the full 6 that some of the other grenades do. But it's AP 1, blast white, and 4/6 damage. It hits like a ton of bricks. So it's good potential marine killer actually if you get a bunch of crits off. Navis Shotgun. And the Hatchet, of course, the Void Armor, and then Grenadier. He's equipped with Frag Crack and Stun Grenades for free and no equipment points. That also counts as your grenades usually. So, yeah. Those grenades have a limited special rule, but can be selected for the operative to use twice instead of once. He's covered in grenades. Your gunner gets the Navis Las Volley. This thing's amazing. 6 shots, 4+, 3/4 damage. Fusillade, heavy, and relentless. So you can only dash with it, but you can split its shots up, and it rerolls all of its misses. Melt-A-Gun, standard Melt-A-Gun. Plasma Gun, standard Melt-A-Gun, or standard Plasma Gun. And then his gun butt's not as good as the axe, obviously. It's 3 attacks, 4+, 2/3 damage. So 2 gunners is... The Navis Las Volley is like a no-brainer. It's amazing. And then probably the Melt-A-Gun, because you can be short range when you're playing in the arms race anyway. All right, and then your Breacher, your Hatch Cutter. I mean, they're all Breachers, right? The Hatch Cutter is the one that actually like kicks indoors. I love this guy. Same core stats as an Armsman. Has an auto pistol, though, so short range, 2/3 damage, and 4 shots at 4+. And a Chain Fist. No joke, a Guardsman holding a Chain Fist. I love it. 4 attacks, 4+, 5/6 damage, brutal, and rending. Oh my god. So you can only block it with crits. Does an absolute ton of damage in melee. I think it's terrifying. But he's got the Hatch Cutter rule. Each time a operative perform the operate hatch action, no more than 1 action point is needed to be subtracted. So no matter if it's locked or not, you can just bust that door open because you can cut the hatch. And then he has a unique action. There's 2 of them. The first one's Weld Shut. This operative can perform this action while within one of a closed hatchway. Until it's open, the hatchway is welded shut. While a hatchway is welded shut, operatives must subtract 1 additional action to operate hatch. So he doesn't suffer that when he goes to open it back up. This operative cannot perform this action whilst within engagement range of an enemy operative. And then Breach Point for 1 AP. Place your Breach Point token, so it's within 1 of this operative, and a terrain feature is no more than 1 inch, black thick. Friendly Imperial Navy Breacher operatives can move through parts of that terrain feature that are no more than 1 thick as if they were not there, as long as they do not, they do so within 1 of that token. So basically, you can clear a whole wall and just walk through it, and only the Breachers can go through it, so the enemy can't. He makes a one-way door. That came up a bunch of times for the Hatch Cutter. He's awesome. The Surveyor and the Void Jammer, they basically operate the Cat and the Geist Skulls, so standard Armsman stats and weapons. And then the Surveyor lets you wayfind, so you can add 1 of the AP of a Cat unit, and then Surveillance, place a Surveillance token within 6 or red of the Navis Cat unit, and then until the end of the turning point, when an enemy operative is visible to a friendly Navis unit and within 3 of that token, blue, it's under Surveillance. When you shoot it, it counts as having an engage order. So you can't hide while it's surveying you, basically. And the Void Jammer, you can detonate the Geist Skull if you want as a bomb. So it gets a grenade, basically, that's detonate, EMP, and silent. So you can do it even if it has a hiding order. It's 4 shots, 3+, 2/3 damage. Everybody within white of the skull basically takes that attack. EMP, each time a friendly operative makes a shooting attack with this weapon, it's lethal X special rule for the shooting attack. X is the unmodified save characteristic. So yeah, so it becomes lethal 2+ against Custodies or 3+ against Marines. It's crazy. And then unique actions, Interference Pulse. Select an enemy operative visible and within 6 of the friendly Navis Geist Skull operative. Roll a d6, adding 1 if the operative is in that friendly Navis Geist Skull's line of sight. On a 3+, subtract 1 from their AP. This operative cannot perform this action while it's in engagement range. So basically, you can disrupt AP with the Geist Skull. Very handy, like messing around effects. And that's it. Your equipment, frag and crack grenades is the same as normal. Stun grenades. Select a point within 6 of the operative in the kill zone and roll a d6 for each operative within 2 of that point, so white. Subtract 1 from the result if it's not visible to the operative. On a 4+, it's -1 AP. This operative can only perform this action once and cannot perform this action while it's within engagement range of enemy operatives. So lots of cool disrupt stuff. And then you've got the Rebreather. You can ignore any or all modifiers to your APL and you're not affected by the stun special rule. And slugs, you can add these to your shotguns. For 1 AP, you can load slugs. You can, if it has loaded slugs, it can only use the long range of its Navis shotgun, but add 1 to both the damage characteristic profiles and include its improved ballistic skill by 1. So it becomes 2/3 damage and 3s to hit with slugs, which is cool. And for 1 AP, you can change the ammo type from scatter to slug. You get skims, +1 wound. Just be jacked up on Adderall during the game. And then system override device for 2 equipment points. And the scouting step after resolving your selection, you can open 1 hatchway. If both players have a similar ability, the defender does it first. You can just have the hatchway open that's normally closed and save some AP for 2 equipment points. Then you get your special Breacher Specialist rules, things like Bruiser. You can have Brutal for that combat. Or Scrapper, improve your weapon skill by 1 to maximum of 2+. And then you get some, I'm not going to spoil, I don't want to spoil too much of like the narrative stuff, but you get cool rare equipment like a special armor set and a cutlass. You get some cool like, what is it, Spec Ops trying to perform, like clear and secure as part of the ship, or burn down a part of the ship that's not supposed to be there. So the Navis team's cool. They really interact with the terrain, more so even than the Kroot does. The Kroot could probably be playing in any Killzone pretty accurately, but these guys are designed for the Gallowdark, especially with like the hatch cutter being able to like open and close doors. And a lot of their rules will be wasted in normal kill team games because of that. All right, the Farstalker Kinband. Oh, sorry, I should have said they have Seek and Destroy and Security as their archetypes. It's Recon and Seek and Destroy for the Farstalker Kinband. So you get Killbroker, probably the coolest name ever for an operative leader, with either a crew rifle and a blade, a pulse carbine blade, and a pulse rifle blade. It's of the two of them, I don't know why you would ever take the pulse carbine. There's no special rule or stratagem that applies to it. It's just functionally worse than the pulse rifle is. So really, you're just going to build either the crew rifle, which hits better but lower damage, or the pulse rifle, which is slightly worse to hit but does a lot higher damage. Those are kind of your only two options that you're probably going to take. And then the Farstalker Kinband. Now, out of this box set, you can make all the specialists. The only one that there's a bit of conflict with and requires a bit of bodging is that the Stalker and the Tracker are on the same body. But the Tracker is just a footprint piece for the base, and a rifle that you could put on either of the two Kroot warriors you get in there that's got a bird sitting on top of it. So I just made I just took that arm and that base piece and stuck it on one of my warriors, and I was easily able to make all the specialists. So I have one warrior model, and then I had got to make both the Stalker and the Tracker. So the only issue with the box set is that if you look at the instructions, you can only make one of them, but the pieces for the Stalker are such, or the Tracker are such that you can stick them on any of the warrior models. Don't worry about it. I did the one who's standing up. You'll see it on the paint table. You can have up to 2 Kroot Hounds. Other than that, the warriors and hound operatives, you can take everybody else once. You only get 1 gunner. So for your 20-man list, you take the Dvograit Skinner and the Lon Daxty Tribalist, but you're only getting one of them in a team at a time, so it's just for option's sakes. And you get extra bits. So if you have some old Kroot lying around, you could pretty easily make the Tribalist and another warrior and be ready to like swap in stuff and swap out. You get Rogue as your ability. So when you're in cover during the defense dice step, you can retain additional normal save, or instead of retaining a normal save, retain a crit. So they are very hard to shift with shooting. Retaining 2 automatic saves while in cover is pretty huge, and then being able to also swap for a crit instead if you know it's got like lethal or something like that is a big deal. All right, attack ops. 2 of these are great. One of them I'm not super sure about. The first one is Butcher. So this one's kind of hard to do. I'm not sure about this one. Butcher is, every time someone dies, place a meat token, and then you can pick up meat tokens if you're Farstalker Kinband people. Even if you're also carrying objective markers or tokens, because you're trying to collect DNA, basically. At the end of the battle, if a total number of your meat tokens that friendly operatives control is equal or more than a quarter of the number of enemy operatives selected for deployment, you get 3 VP, or 1 VP. So if you're fighting the Armsman, for instance, you get 3 pieces of meat at the end of the game, you get a VP. End of the game, if the total number of your meat tokens that friendly operatives control is equal to or more than half the number, so you get 6 pieces of meat, that's 1 VP. The only reason I don't like this one is it's AP like dependent. You need to spend 6 AP on most, like on the one that's in this box. On Marines, you'd be able to get it with 3, but it's a lot harder to kill Marines. So I think Butcher goes in if you're fighting a low model team. It doesn't necessarily go in if you're fighting a high model team. The one that always goes in, balance the books. You reveal this TAC op when you score maximum victory points for another TAC op. So as soon as you score max from a different TAC op, if you get 2, and there's some that like endgame, like Marksman and Robin Ransack are really good with this one, because if you get them and you just run and hide, you're automatically getting 6 for your TAC ops. If you score maximum victory points from a TAC op, get a VP. If you score maximum victory points from another TAC op, and both of these are conditional upon no more than half your guys being dead when you score them, you get an extra VP. So endgame ones, it means you have to have at least 6 of your models alive at the end. But if you take ones that score right away up to 2, like if you take, the challenge one, you challenge them at the beginning of the game and go get it, you immediately score 4 VPs, or 3 VPs. Because not only do you get challenged to 2, you also get balance the books to 1. And then you're just looking to get another one. Because balance the books scores when you max out another one. So you're looking for other tactics you can combine with this one that score midway through the game when you haven't taken a lot of casualties. So balance the books is real good. because it's passive and it's just dependent upon you doing other ones. It basically reduces the number you're trying to max out by 1 and just scores along with it. It's a really powerful tack op. I'd take it every single game. And then Bounty Hunter, if the real is tack up and the target real step event at the first turning point, and then select your opponent selects one of their operatives. If that enemy operative is incapacitated, you score 1 VP and place your Bounty Hunter token underneath the operative as close as possible to the center of the base. And if a friendly operative performs the confirm hit action, score VP. So basically, your opponent picks who's got the bounty on them, you kill them and place the token and score VP, and then confirm hit, an operative confirm this action while within blue of your bounty token and not within engagement range of an enemy operative, remove your bounty token. So basically you have to kill somebody and then look at them and see if that was the right person that you killed for the bounty. So it pairs really well with Balance the Books. I would almost always take Bounty Hunter because again, you can score right away and then just immediately go to 3. You got half your guys done for 1 kill early game and you've balanced the books. So if you can pull off Bounty Hunter, Balance the Books, and Challenge, you've you got some quick scoring to go to 6 on your tac ops. But you're trying to do it fast and then run away, right? All right, strategic deploys, Cutthroats. Everybody gets an extra attack to a maximum of 4 on their melee weapons. Farstalk, change the orders up to 3 of your Kinbands that are more than 3 from enemy operatives. First turn, you can just change your orders if you want for 3 guys. It's amazing. That's an amazing strategic deploy. And then Prey. Each time your operative is activated, you can use this ability. If you do so until the end of the turning point, range weapons this operative is equipped with gain the balanced and heavy trait. So basically, all of your folks can activate that ability, but they don't have to, and you gain balanced and heavy. So if you're just dashing and you're kind of like hiding in cover and shooting people, you just get balanced. It kind of offsets the fact that almost all the crit weapons hit on 4s and do okay damage. And then Bound, this is a good first turn one for 1 CP. Ignore the first white penalty for climbing, dropping, or traversing, and then you automatically pass your jump tests. So you can bird bounce, because you got hollow bones, because you're a bird. So these are your strategic ploys, and then tac ploys. Mercenary Contract, use a tactical ploy in the select tac ops deck when you're building your deck. You can pick a card deck from a different archetype that you didn't select. So if you'd taken all Seek and Destroys, you could also grab a Recon and throw it in your deck if you want for 1 CP. Slip Away for 1 CP, fall back for 1 less AP to a minimum of 0. Poach. I love this one for 1 CP. You can take a mission action or pickup action even if you're within engagement range of an enemy operative or against an objective marker that you don't control. Oh my god, it's so good. And then Vengeance for the Kinband. This one's cool too. For 1 CP, when one of your guys dies, you put a Vengeance marker on the guy that killed him, and then until that guy's dead, and you can't do this attack play again until that guy dies, you get to reroll all your attack dice stuff against him. So no matter what, just reroll everything against him. You get mad. So get mad, steal objectives, and do things even if you're engaged. Slip away, and then get extra attack ops. So these guys lean really hard into their attack ops, but they do a good job of it, which is okay because the core stats are not super impressive. They're kind of just humans. Move 3, 2 AP, 1 group activate for everybody. Mostly the warriors have 7 wounds. A bunch of the specialists have 8 and 9 wounds. It's not super consistent, so 7 is the low, 9 is the high, 9 for the cold blood and the kill broker, for instance. Everybody's got def of 3 and save of 5+. Recruit rifles, they're your good to hitters, so they are 4 attacks at 3+, 3/4 damage. For the kill, and you also have a shotgun version too, which is interesting, but it's short range. It's only got a red range and it's 3/3 damage, and I think it's balanced or maybe ceaseless. You can see what I'm saying with the pulse carbine. It has the same core stats as the pulse rifle, no special rules, but it's just 1 less crit damage. So I don't know why you'd ever take it. It has no cap range. And then your kill broker can call the kill once per strategy phase. Once your turn to use a strategic deploy or pass, you can select 1 enemy operative visible to the operative instead. At the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Farstalker operative fights in combat or shoots them in the roll attack dice step before rolling to hit, you can retain 1 successful hit without rolling it. So he just calls somebody out and goes, I hit you once for free. Which again, kind of, if you really need to kill somebody or you're fine with your heavy weapons, kind of offsets things. And then you have a photon grenade for 1. It's within line of sight and within 6 on a 2+ until the turning point. Subtract 1 from the movement of the enemy operative's movement characteristic, and it cannot perform dash actions. So you can just like basically blast somebody, and you roll a d6, subtracting 1 from the result if they're not in 6 and not in line of sight. But you need 2+ to do it, so you could be on a 4+ if you try and throw it far. This operative can only perform the action once, only if it's equipped with the pulse carbine and can. Oh, that's the point of the pulse carbine. Sorry, the pulse carbine lets you do the photon grenade. I'd completely not read the pulse carbine bit for that, and that's why I didn't realize what it was for. So I guess you could do the photon grenade if you did the pulse action. I don't think it's worth it. You got so much other things to do with that guy's AP. because he's killy dead. So there you go. There's your reason to take the Pulse Carbine. I don't think it's worth it. I wouldn't bother. Recruit Bow Hunter. So just a regular Recruit Warrior with an extra wound. He's got 3 different bow types you can pick from when you shoot with him. You got a big hitter. You got I can do it from cover with silent, and then you've got a blast one with splash 2. So the fused arrow, they're all 4s, 4 attacks with 4+ to hit. The fused arrow is 4/5 damage with AP 1. The glide arrow is 3/4 damage and silent, and the voltaic arrow is 3/2 damage and splash 2. It does 2 mortal wounds for every crit. Then you get your blade, which is the same for all the recruit. 3 attacks, 3+, 3/4 damage. And then you can energize for 1 AP. Basically, before you fire, you can spend an AP, and then all the profiles gain lethal 5+. You just juice it up a little bit. It's like the scene in Futurama where they're cranking up the laser gun. Then you got your Cold Blood. He's got his recruit rifle and a blade, so he's got the usual recruit weapons, and then 2 extra wounds. He's hardy. Each time his operative fights in combat or shoots, a shooting attack is made against it that resolves successful hits. You're just minus. If you would take critical damage, you drop it down to regular damage. So whenever you take a crit, you take regular damage instead. He's just real tough. And then well stocked, he comes with the piercing shot and toxin shot upgrades for free for his recruit rifle, which are equipment. Then you got your Cut Skin. This is your melee guy. He's got no guns, so he's a good candidate to give your grenade to because he's going to get up close to him anyway, your quill grenade. He's got an extra wound for 8. And then his Cut Skin blades are basically just regular recruit blades, but they're balanced and lethal 5+. He's a vicious duelist. All your opponent's misses do a mortal wound to him. So every time you miss with an attack against him, you take a mortal wound, which is pretty cool. And then Savage Assault for 1 AP, perform a free fight action, and if he's not dead, fight again with the same target and the same weapon. So for 1 AP, when you fight, you basically fight twice, which is pretty rad for a guy with 2 AP. Then your Heavy Gunner. So you got 2 options here. He's got an extra wound from everybody else, and his things are basically a super flamer. It's called a Dvogarite Skinner. I have enjoyed this thing immensely. 6 attacks, 2+ to hit, 2/3 damage, range red, but then AP2 Cumbersome and Torrent. Cumbersome just means you can't move more than your basic movement during a turn in which you shoot it. I've never had that issue in this game so far. And then Torrent, so everybody within 2 inches of the initial target takes that shot. It is like the melt stick from Thor Ragnarok, except it blasts out and kills a bunch of guys. It's amazing. Don't group up around this guy. Your other option is the Tribalist. It's AP1 and Rending, and it's 5 shots, 4+, 4/4 damage. I mean, maybe on an open table you'd take it. I think the Dvogarite Skinner is absolutely amazing. Then your Recruit Hounds, these little guys, they are the other Group Activate 2 thing in the Army. They move 4, so they're very fast. They charge 5 then. And they're AP2, defense 3+, 5+, and 7 wounds. They got a regular Recruit Warrior's stats other than that. Ripping Fangs are the same as a Recruit Warrior attacking, but they get Rending, so if you get a crit, you can take one of your hits and also upgrade it. And then they have Beasts. They can't do mission actions or be equipped with equipment. And they are Bad-Tempered. Each time an enemy operative performs a fight action, if this operative is a valid target, you can select this operative as the target instead. Each time an enemy operative finishes a charge action within engagement range of another friendly Farstalker Kinband, operative within blue of the operative. If this operative is not within engagement range of an enemy operative, the operative can perform a free charge action. But it must finish that move within engagement range of the enemy operative. And then Gather, perform a free dash, fallback, or normal move action. At any point during that move, you can perform the pickup action for free, and any remaining increments of movement can be used after that if it does so. So basically, if you're doing the meat mission, the crew downs can run and scurry and pick up all the meat for you. Your long sight is your sniper. He's got 1 extra wound from a warrior. His crude hunting rifle is basically a standard sniper rifle. 4 shots, 3+, 3/3. Heavy and mortal wound 3. And then his blade is just a regular recruit blade. He's got the long sight ability for 1 AP. So basically, if he doesn't do anything before he fires, it becomes silent lethal 5+. And if it makes a shooting attack with the recruit hunting rifle, enemy operatives are not obscured for that shooting attack. This operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range. So basically, when you aim, you get to shoot basically whoever you want, and you become silent lethal 5+. So it's a pretty cool one, but it means you can't take a guard action later on, which is a thing that you can do in the Gallowdark Killzone. He'll be really great in regular kill team Killzones as well. Crew Pistolier, this guy's neat, extra wound from a warrior. His dual crew pistols, they're just range red, balance, and lethal 5+, but they're otherwise they're like a recruit rifle. They're 4 shots, 4+, 3/4 damage. He's got the regular blade. Quick draw, once per turning point, if someone shoots you before they make their shoot action, and they have to commit to it, you get to shoot them for free. And that's it. If you're not dead, you get to shoot him afterwards. He's faster than you. He's your Huckleberry. He's your Buckleberry. And then Gunslinger Salvo for 1 AP, perform a free shoot action if they're still alive. After that shoot action, you can make another shooting action with the dual crew pistols. This operative cannot perform it while it's concealed or while within engagement range of an enemy operative. It cannot perform a charge, fallback, or normal move in the same activation which it does this action. So basically, you can dash and do Gunslinger Salvo, which means shoot twice, which is pretty rad. He's kind of like the gun version of the cut skin. Your Stalker and your Shotgun, these are the ones that basically both use the same leaning down body, but you can stick that arm on anybody. The Crude Stalker's got extra wounds. He's got a scattergun, so he's got the short range one, which is 3/3 and range red. And then he can perform a charge action even if he's concealed, which is cool. And he has stealth attack for 2 AP. He has to charge out of concealed, gets a free charge and a free fight, and the resolve successful hits of the first attack, you get to resolve 2 instead of 1. So with his balanced rending Stalker's Blade, he'd potentially just be applying 8 damage to something, right? Because if you're balanced and rending, you're fishing for a single crit, which makes a hit into a crit, which means you're applying 2 successful crits on the charge and just knifing someone for 8 damage. So if you stick him next to someone who's got 8 wounds, there's a really good chance if he does the stealth attack, he'll just cut their head off and they'll be dead with no damage back. And then Crew Warrior, that's your basic guy. He can have a scattergun or a rifle, and that's it. He's got 8 wounds. He doesn't have 7 wounds. Who had 7 wounds in here then? Maybe I'm thinking of the Armsman. They've all got 8. Oh no, it's the Hound has 7 wounds. That's what it is. The Warrior's got 8. And then your equipment, Quill Grenade, it's basically a frag grenade, 2/3 damage, 3+ to hit, range 6, blast indirect limited. Your Piercing Shot, you basically gain an AP to your crew rifle, but it's limited. It's 2 equipment points. Then your Toxin Shot gets lethal 5+ unlimited, but it's only 2/2 damage, and gains stun. Meat for 3, just regain D3+1 lost wounds for no action points, just start your activation. That's a real handy one for your bosses. And then Trophy, 4 equipment points. Once per battle when this operative is activated, you can use this ability. If you do so, add 1 to its AP. Each strength point, only 1 friendly operative can use this ability, but you can have lots of guys with trophies. And then Ritual Blade, if you want to make your Kill Broker better at fighting in melee. Only 3 attacks still, but remember you can strategic play up to an extra one. And then it's 2+4, 5 damage. And then your Crew Pistol, I don't know why you'd ever buy it for them, because it's just the same as a Crew Rifle with short range. Maybe buy, I guess you could buy the Crew Pistol for the cut skin if you wanted to, but I'd probably just rather give him a grenade, because he's going to be diving into people anyway. And then Battle Honors, things like extra attacks, perform a charge even if you're concealed, stuff like that. Rare equipment, like a better power sword for your boss. A Narlock Hide, -1 damage from both of its stats if you get targeted by a ranged attack. And then cool strategic assets like a Spoils Safe, get an extra command point, because you keep all your cool loot in there. It's like the Lost Boys dungeon. Kin first and foremost. This is the only one where I found a kind of an issue, and it's because there's a like typo in it. So complete 5 games in which you scored victory points from the Balance the Books or Butcher Tac Op, or 5 games in which you scored victory points from 2 or more Security Tac Ops. I guess you can, no, you can't do it. There's no way to do it because you can't take Security Tac Ops. You can only take Recon. So maybe that was supposed to say Recon, and they just got it wrong. Because there's no way for you to take Tac Ops that aren't from your basic slate, unless you're playing on the Gallowdark, in which case, if you're completely unable to take 6 cards because you only have 1 archetype, you can take them from an archetype you don't have access to, but these guys can always take 6 cards, so I don't know why this is the way it is. And then we're in the Gallowdark Killzone terrain. Okay, so this is, it's not that complicated to play in the Gallowdark. Basically, the doors become access points. You can take an action to open and close them. Once the door is gone, the 1 inch to either side of the door is also accessible. You can walk through it. The idea is you're like stepping around each other. Basically, they didn't want it so that you could put a base somewhere and not be able to go through the door if you're a friendly model. Otherwise, guys get jammed up like crazy. So imagine that the entire like wall section from pillar to pillar becomes accessible and able to walk through and the door's open. For cover, you only get cover from corners, so you never get cover from just like standing in the middle of something like this. Like you can't, like that little notch won't cause any kind of cover. It's only from the edges of stuff. Otherwise, it's just heavy and obscuring. The hatchways I already explained. Opening and closing. Ancient apparatus are all just heavy and traversable. The pipes are light and traversable. These are just barricades, so they use the standard barricade rules. Now you do get, when you use so Killzone Into the Dark uses the close quarters rules, which means you're automatically playing in close quarters. You get the following extra actions you can perform. The first one's guard. It basically allows you to overwatch without having activated all your models or fight around a combat. After any enemy operative performs an action that's visible to you, you can either overwatch them or fight, or perform point blank overwatch if someone charges you. So that's cool. You can put guys on guard. It's kind of like readying an overwatch model for a single AP. Now the overwatch attack and the melee attack count as fight and shoot attacks. So that means that if you've made one already during the turn, you can't take the guard action. So you couldn't fight, then go on guard, and then fight again. But you could fight, go on guard, and shoot later on, which is interesting. But it would restrict you from fighting twice. Hatchway fight, in order to storm a room, you're able to actually charge the hatchway and then attack anybody within white of it. So it means that like the hatchways kind of get in the way of placing models sometimes. The hatchway is your charge target for when someone's within 2 of it, and then you get to pick who you're fighting, which is nice. Additional rules. All right, so extra rules. Those are the 2 extra actions you can do. So you can make an hatchway fight as a fight action. It means that the hatch is the target of a charge. Actually, sorry, I don't even think you need to charge it. This action is treated as a fight action. It's not with an enemy. So you basically walk up to it then. You wouldn't charge actually, although I guess you could charge technically, because I don't think you have to end your charge movement engagement. So you could technically just move up to there, and as long as you're not engaging, but you're touching the hatch, then you could make the fight. Condensed environment. Weapons with Blast X, Splash X, or Torrent get lethal 5+ because they're more dangerous in enclosed environments. When you shoot with an indirect weapon, the range is reduced to blue instead of red, if you want to use the indirect rule. And then each time, if you can see them though, you can still be red. Each time a friendly operative makes a shooting attack against an enemy operative, if the cover line's through another operative, friendly or enemy, if one of them's through it, you reduce your attack dice by 1. The only exception is if you're in base contact with the guy who's in the way. So if you're stacked like this Navis Endurant, then you wouldn't reduce attack dice. Also, if the thing in between you has a conceal order, you don't reduce attack dice. But if that guy had an engage order, you would reduce it. So in this case, this guy's got an engage order and one of the sight lines goes through him, you reduce the point to shoot that guy. So basically just showing the fact that like bodies are getting in the way. You don't place barricades, but when you... barricades, when using the close quarters rules, barricades are set up differently. They can be set up anywhere in the kill zone that is more than 6 from the component's drop zone, more than 2 from access points, more than 2 from barricades, and not on a terrain feature. When using close quarters, the following tack-ups are not used: Seize Ground, Hold the Line, Sabotage, and Vantage. And this would mean you cannot build a 6-card tack-up deck because you only have one thing to select from. You select a number of cards needed to complete your deck from any other one you have access to, or one that you don't have access to. And you got our big color section, and then the this is the key for setting up terrain. So it's very important you build your terrain correctly, and I'll talk about that more in my review for the terrain, because if you don't build your terrain correctly, you can't set up the maps, and the maps need to be set up over and over again. There's 9 sort of like strategic missions in here that you can play through as part of either a Spec Ops campaign or as match play, and there's 9 more that are designed to just be match play. And then we got our expedition. So these are fun. So you pick the number of players, you multiply it by 2. That's the number of games you're going to play in the expedition. You also have your resource deck, which is just you shuffle a deck of playing cards and you deal it a number equal to the number of missions being played times 3. And then you deal them out. And you get salvage, knowledge, resources, and wild. And every time you play a game, you're going to draw one and basically get that type. And the triumphs for the end are who has the most of any given type. At the end of the expedition, you also trade them in for additional fun bucks and stuff. And what you do is you draw them on the map as you go through. So when you trade them in, if you got the most of a given type, you trade yours in, you gain a requisition point, or you can add rare equipment, you can distribute 5 XP across your data slate, or remove a battle scar at the end of the expedition, which is kind of fun. And then you can do edicts in the campaign as well. Like there's low light everywhere, strategic exploration, thin atmosphere, reduces your abilities and stuff like that. And then you get some additional missions to play through as well. They're less balanced and also use like the terrain setup rules. You get some bespoke stuff for your record keeping and some data cards for your 2 factions, and then the key again. That's it. So there it is, Into the Dark. I'm excited about this. I like that it gave us a new way to play the game. I like that there was a new table size. and I really like the two new teams. They're very thematic. The Breachers in particular are very thematic to the location. Of course, the Crew are very thematic just onto being Crute, the way that they play. I like that their tac ops deck a lot. So I think the Crew will see a lot of fun on every kill team table, while the Breachers will be fun everywhere else. So big thanks for watching. Thanks, I'm Ash. Happy gaming. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are tons of other games already recorded for you to watch. Click over to my channel page if you haven't already, and have a look through the dozens of playlists full of videos. I guarantee you'll discover a game you haven't seen played before. I put out new videos 7 days a week, and every day is themed to a different genre as I continue to explore the wider world of gaming. Of course, none of that's possible without you, the viewer, so click a like and subscribe if you'd like to stay on top of what's happening here daily. My two kids and I are massively grateful to be able to have the flexibility of this job so I can always maximize my time with them. If you want to support me continuing to put out this content, it's only possible because of my amazing backers on Patreon who support the studio, equipment, and model cost, as well as being how I make the bulk of my living. You can also help out by buying a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, a measuring gauge or widget from Death Ray Designs, or buying one of my games and supplements like Last Days, Gamma Wolves, and Blaster. As a way of showing my appreciation, patrons get early access to new games and supplements that I write throughout the course of the year. Huge thanks for watching, it really does help out, and happy gaming.